Just glass everything. Humanity had just begun to be brought into the galactic community when human diplomats all noticed the same startling trend. A surprising lack of transparency, in the most literal sense. Of the hundreds of xeno-civilizations, about half had been using electric lighting for so long that they simply never built windows into their buildings anymore. Most of the rest used bioengineering to create glowing walls, to render other forms of light unnecessary. The small minority that didn't use these either had no vision or just left holes in the walls without covering them. Drinking vessels were all opaque ceramic, metal, or organic material. Computers projected their readout directly onto the brain, making digital readouts unnecessary. Meanwhile, the Xeno ambassadors were facing another problem entirely. The new material seemed to be everywhere, but they never asked about it for fear of seeming unsophisticated or revealing a lapse in their technology, which could be seized upon to tip negotiations away from their favour. When one of the Stevan's ambassadors attempted to walk away with a drinking vessel, the owner of the eatery where they were being hosted politely but forcefully told him that it was not customary to take the utensils with you. Shit, so much for industrial espionage, thought the ambassador. So clear, so alluring. By this point the humans were thoroughly perturbed. They didn't use traditional lenses, choosing to use either ice or otherwise a plate that would absorb oncoming photons, then react to form a three-dimensional topographical plate of the scene in front of it. From this, prints or castings would be made for news distribution. Small personal electronics such as phones would use haptics, as with prosthetic eyes or corrective devices for the visually impaired. Now the formalities had passed back on Earth, and it was time to begin a cultural exchange. The Kanagawa Institute of Technology was the first stop, followed immediately by the National Grand Theatre in China, the Louvre in Paris, as well as the Curitiba Botanical Gardens in Brazil, and the Netherlands Institute for Sound and Vision, and the SAGE in London, and the Basque Health Department headquarters of Bilbao, Spain, and the Langen Foundation in Germany. All important locations, with vital logistics, cultural and scientific data to be gleaned, if they could only get their eyes off the architecture. By now, the ambassadors of Earth had given up on all hopes of clarity. Finally, a young page of one of the Zorel clans couldn't contain himself.
"What is this cup made of?"
The human chaperone looked at him in surprise, and replied, "Glass." The young boy scampered away and told the chieftain. When negotiations came, humanity gained telomere extension, FTL comms, quantum computing, FTL drives, perfect isomer synthesis, antimatter, and a seat at the highest level of galactic government. The aliens? Glass. Just glass everything. Thanks for listening. Read by A Good Bean.